So today I'm talking with Tom, and Tom has a channel called Weilà Tom. Did I say it correctly?
That's it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So maybe, Tom, you could briefly introduce yourself and how you got into what you're doing, and in fact, explain what you are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your channel. I've been a big fan for a long time.
Thank you.
And so basically, I started learning Italian somewhere around 15 years ago. And I never really thought that I had a passion for languages till I actually got into it. And I saw just how cool it was to be able to understand the language of my family because I have an Italian background. So I was always around the language growing up. And so then when I got to university, I wanted to take Italian classes. And I remember I was sitting with my advisor. I had taken my proficiency exam like everyone does. And she said, look, you placed out of our classes. Would you like to teach? And I said, teach? I said, at one point I was happy because she said, yeah, you could get paid by the school, you could do this. But I was like, I still want to take classes. She goes, well, I'm sorry, unfortunately you can't do that. So I got into teaching, and at the same time I was running my YouTube channel just as a fun passion project to share what I knew with other people. And then yeah, now so many years down the line, I'm teaching Italian, I teach English, I became a TOEFL, I got my TOEFL certificate, and now I'm learning French. I even shared some content of French on my channel, so I've just been enjoying the ride.
Tell me, you went to university in New York? Or whereabouts?
Yes, in New York. Yeah, New York. Mm-hmm.
Which university, if I may ask?
Yeah, it's called Hofstra University.
Okay. So they had an Italian program at the university?
They did, yeah, but I was a business major.
Right.
So I was kind of there for business.
Right.
But I thought it would be fun just to take a few classes in Italian.
It's still interesting that they had an Italian program. Do they still have the Italian program?
Yeah, they still do.
Okay,
yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
And how many foreign languages do they teach? Or do you know?
I think I don't know exactly how many, but I know for certain we had Arabic, I know we had French, Italian, Spanish. I don't know what other languages we have, but I know for certain those ones, yeah.
And the program, was it what they now refer to as heritage language learners, people with an Italian background that were taking Italian? Or people who had no particular connection to Italian?
Yeah, it was all different kinds of people, and I really got to see that through the tutoring because I was tutoring both undergraduate and graduate students. And so it was people of all different ages, all different backgrounds, and it really gave me an appreciation for how much Italian I learned thanks to my family. Because there were certain expressions that were challenging for students that I never had to formally learn. I just understood. So yeah.
Okay, and so how well did they learn? Like, what was the focus of the teaching? Was it getting them to speak the language? Was it having them access, the works of literature of Italian?
Yes.
Or what was the program?
Yeah, it was definitely heavy. There was a small section on grammar, and there was definitely a big emphasis on Italian culture, Italian films, Italian history, Italian poetry as well, like everyone learns about Dante. And so that was also particularly enriching for me. So yeah, big emphasis on the culture.
So do people read, for example, Italian novels?
Yes, they read novels, they'll dissect the language. For example, in Italian, I'm sure you're familiar, in literature they use the passato remoto a lot, which in everyday spoken Italian, it's not really used.
But what were some of the authors that were studied?
I can't remember all of them, but I know for certain Dante, but usually they would also take like news articles as well, and they would talk about current events and then learn the culture that way.
Right, so they were reading in Italian?
They were reading in Italian, yes.
Okay,
yes.
No, I did. When I was working on my Italian, I read I Promessi Sposi, which...
oh, sure.
When I say that to Italians, they say, holy cow, like we hated doing that in school. But I thought it was phenomenal because it's sort of very exotic. It's it was written in the 19th century, about the 17th century, and or whatever, 16th, I don't know. And it was great. And I had an audiobook for it. But I've read Alberto Moravia and also had an audiobook for it. Like, I like to listen to an audiobook where I also have the ebook, and then I import the ebook into Link, and then I can look up all the words and phrases. But I did a lot of listening to Italian audiobooks. Were audiobooks used in the program?
No, I don't recall any audiobooks being used, but they would have for homework, they would have to listen to a mock conversation, and then they would have to like give the answers or write a small paragraph explaining what it was about.
Right, okay. Yeah, we should get them on Link.
I think so. I think that'd be a great idea. Get that authentic input.
Now, the people who studied Italian, what were their motivations? Your students.
So you know, a lot of people here in New York do have Italian heritage. So there's definitely a piece of people that when they sign up for an Italian class, they say, you know, this is a way for me to connect with my roots, with my grandparents, my great-grandparents. And then there are other people that just genuinely, they love the culture, they love the food, they love visiting Italy. And so I really have yet to meet someone that dislikes Italy. So it's really a wonderful, a wonderful thing.
It's a good product to be selling, for sure. Yeah.
It is actually, yes.
So a lot of people then have in mind that they would like to go to Italy at some point. In fact, do many of them take like a third year and go abroad and study in an Italian university or something?
Exactly. So many people do it. It almost feels like a rite of passage for so many people just to go and study abroad in Florence. It's like the thing to do. Yeah.
Where was I? There was a foreign languages university in this lovely medieval town. I can't remember what the name of it was. But at any rate, it doesn't matter where you go in Italy. It's a lot of fun.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you said you were teaching people of all ages, so that the students there weren't necessarily people in their, early 20s or late teens. You also had some mature students.
Exactly. Many mature students. And then even as I tutor outside of school, on my own, with my own business, I've taught people, I think, from as young as 12 to as old as about 83. Okay. And it's so beautiful to see what it's like to teach people of all different ages and all different backgrounds, and it does give you as a teacher a lot of insight into what you need to do for people of different ages, because younger people tend to be more used to the school, they're fresh out of school or currently in it, so they like that more traditional approach, whereas your more mature students, they've been out in the workforce for X amount of years, they have families, they've traveled to Italy, so it's interesting to, as a teacher, to hone in on those different skills and those different strengths and weaknesses.
How would you what sorts of things do you do? Maybe you could explain a little bit about your website and or link YouTube channel, whatever it is, and then your teaching activity and how people can find you and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on many different social media platforms, but primarily I do use Instagram and YouTube are my big ones. And so what I have on my YouTube channel is videos to learn Italian in a fun and casual way, but I do have a focus on grammar as well, because I believe grammar can also be fun. And then I do the same for English, but it's teaching English to Italian speakers. Okay. So, and what I do, which is not always the hottest thing to do in the teaching world, is I do teach in the native language. So I will teach, so I don't do it in full immersion style. If a student wants it, then I do it. But on my YouTube channel, I teach Italian in English and teach English in Italian. Okay. And then I also have some French videos because I wanted to share my notes, and I teach French in English. Okay. But anyway, so my YouTube channel is short videos, fun and casual. I try to focus on authentic language, not only textbook language. And then what I do outside of YouTube, where I privately teach people, is that is completely tailored to whatever the student wants. Right. If a student wants the traditional, let's look at a digital whiteboard, let's go through a whole verb tense and exercises, we do it. If they want to just talk for an hour or 30 minutes in Italian, we do that too. So I found that it's really useful to have someone that you can go to and just ask whatever you want. Right. Whether the question is super advanced about the subjunctive mood, or whether it's, you know what, Tom, I never knew what che vuol dire means. They always taught me cosa significa in school. And I love doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, it is true that there are certain things that we just don't notice in the language, and certain things that we get very curious about. So, and I think it's also very important to cater it to the individual needs of the learner. There are some teachers who say, "This is my method, and today we're going to do this." Right. You can't do that. People, you got to maintain that motivation. Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, and. We will put links to your various presences in the description box. And maybe, in fact, hopefully some people will want to go there and take advantage. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.